Hello and welcome to another episode of the Manufacturers Hub podcast. Today I'm with Jamie Fairclough from Design 3D Services, a specialist in mechanical engineering and 3D CAD design.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, thanks, Richard. Thanks for having me on.
It's been a long time coming, but we're finally here anyway. Anyone listening who's never come across this before, what do you do?
So I would class it as mechanical design engineer, which is intentionally a little bit vague. Mechanical design engineering can cover a whole sphere of stuff. So what I do is that. But what I did for a long time before this was working in manufacturing. So what I do is I help people with physical things that are involved with manufacturing. So that could be the design of an idea that somebody wishes to prototype, or it could be something in existence that that they wish to optimize or cost down or scale up or something like that. It could be any part along the product development chain, like a conceptual phase or a volume production phase or so on. So I get involved in the physical design side in products that get made. Agnostic to any market. This could be like medical, automotive, consumer goods, and so on. If it's something being manufactured, I can help.
I've seen as well, obviously on your LinkedIn that you've done some, is it automation projects as well?
Yeah. So I spent a few years working in robotics in a couple of startups. One was quite a big project I worked on for probably about 5 years in the end, to do with logistics robotics, and another one to do with automation in the waste industry, so using industrial robotic arms. So yeah, a sort of range of use cases there. And then doing what I do now, I've got a couple of projects I worked on last year in the robotic space, quite interesting, medical one, and a sort of demonstration, sort of more of a software design piece on a quadruped, a four-legged thing. So yeah, a real mix of stuff.
So it's all across different sectors really as well. It's not really kind of limited to say pharma and things like that, is it? Or medical?
It is across various sectors. I think once you get a bit of experience and you start working in a network in some industries like automotive and automation for the automotive industry, or just industrial processes, you sort of do fall maybe a little bit into a category, I suppose. But so yeah, I've definitely had experience there, and I definitely get inquiries there. But yeah, also in new spaces like medical. So again, if it's to do with manufacturing, making stuff, no problem. However, there are industries, as you know, that have regulations and compliance. Obviously, medical's a good example. Aerospace and defense is another good example. So you do, if you don't already, you do need to learn perhaps some of these rules. It's not that hard to do. But yeah, definitely got to be aware if you're going into a new problem space.
Do you find some of these companies, just say that we're connected with quite a lot of automation manufacturers? So do you see anyone like that reach now if they've not got enough staff? Just for you to be able to cover their work.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So I'm quite flexible how I work, and one way that I've done a few times now is with existing design teams in companies who just need a bit more capacity. So this might be a 50-year-old company with 100 people in it or more or what have you. They've got their own product, production site, team, software licenses, processes, everything. They just might need a bit of support, some sort of focused support on a certain element of their
detailing or something. Get the last bit detailing.
Yeah, exactly. It could be a good example is I worked for a company who they have a load of medical type of products. Their parent acquired another business in Australia, and then they wanted to produce in the UK this medical device that was in Australia. However, it was done a long time ago there. They didn't have any drawings or CAD or anything reliable, so they shipped a unit over to their site in it's near Heathrow, and then they wanted to reverse engineer everything, so they had correct, accurate CAD and drawings and documentation, so they could then go and produce it at some kind of scale and sell it in this UK market. So that's quite a good example of a job where it's technically not too challenging. The accuracy and the diligence is really important, and it's a task where the capacity on their current team, like, couldn't afford it. It was like, bring in an engineer, give them this task, enroll them onto our system, and so on. And then you start getting involved, right? Do that. Then they realize, oh, it's actually not too hard to sort of turn on a bit more resource and turn it off again when you're done with it. So these are kind of like quite good inroads to like existing companies, as long as you do a good job and so on.
So you also don't have to be on a contract either. You do it as like a pay-as-you-go service?
Yeah, exactly. Again, I can be quite flexible here. I like to offer this pay-as-you-go service because it's a way that like customers or clients can get like my experience and my expertise on like a prorated kind of base, if you like. So what I try and position myself as a sort of an OpEx kind of way of working. So instead of having to invest in an expensive staff member for forever or for a long period of time, you might not have demand for that staff member's expertise every day or all the time. You can basically plug me in, I'll do a job, and then I'll go away again. So that's the kind of pay-as-you-go piece. But I also work under like contracts with a few customers, or just by work package. So yeah, I can be pretty flexible there. But this kind of like pay-as-you-go piece seems to land quite well certainly last year in like a challenging like employers like kind of marketplace where budgets aren't what they were, maybe good staff are hard to find, and so on. So it's a way to try and like fill a demand with this pay-as-you-go kind of process.
So the other one is because you've got your own seats as well, your own software.
Yeah. So
if they've got seats as well, they can just kind of get you in because you've already got that. They don't have to pay for the license as well, and they can just sub you in without
exactly. Yeah. If it's the same software, then exactly. Yeah. So that was a bit of a deciding factor in choosing the software I use, because a client used it and they needed someone with their own license. That was also probably a pivotal part of when I started was that investment, buying a license. So I'd done a few free trials, I think, on a couple of email addresses. I'd managed to borrow a license for a bit, but it got to a point where it was like, you need your own license to properly operate and legitimately operate. So yeah, that was a sort of a fork in the road where I was thinking, do I sort of spend a few grand and commit and hopefully get some work and pay that back? So yeah, that's right. I did that, and so far so good.
So you got to start somewhere, and sometimes you've got to do these free trials and stuff just to be able to see if it's worth it or not. Even if you're changing software, sometimes you don't want to make that big expense straight away on changing to this new software is not the right thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then it's like the hardware that goes with it is quite expensive, can be. So that I did like an upgrade recently, and that was again another sort of investment just to make things faster, make the computer run faster. Means I can process like big stuff a lot faster than what I could before. But it's taken like a few jobs to go, hang on a minute, this would be a lot better if I could halve or better the time on this. So yeah, there are these like investments on the way, but I think you got to, like you're sort of saying, you got to validate. You got to get to the point where you're like screaming for it to confidently go, it's totally worth the money. Like press the button,
You're based in London as well, aren't you? Or yeah,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm based in London. I have been for ages. I do work like out of London as well.
is it across
I have
the
a
UK? Is
customer.
it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's even in Europe. I even have a customer, like a project in Europe, like in the Netherlands. So because of what I do, because of like mechanical engineering design is done predominantly on a computer or on a sketchpad or whatever. You can do it. You
Remotely.
can do it anywhere, but it is good to go to people and meet them and go to their site and like have face to face. So I'll always like try and insist if I can on like going to site or meeting face to face or things like that. At least at the start to sort of like fully understand and fully kind of get involved in the project, especially if it's like something that already exists, right? You kind of want to pick it up and hold it and feel it and kind of like totally
Sure. Right.
understand what the pain is for the client or what it is that you're trying to like make better or so on. So yeah, I'm based in London, but I do travel. I do go wherever wherever needed.
So it's sometimes it's about trust as well, isn't it? When they obviously want to get you in, and it's nicer to be there in person so they can get that trust rather than say
Yeah,
just seeing it on a screen, really, as well, isn't it?
there's a lot of like I have seen and heard of, sadly, like projects not ending well when a customer has used like an online like freelancer like directory type of thing, found like someone who looks good online, but they might not even be in the UK. You know, they could be like quite far away, and it hasn't really gone very well. They've had to pay the money, and that's the end of it. And they've kind of left a bit burned, and then the trust is hard to regain. So yeah, meeting face to face is important. I actually met a guy this morning, and he basically insisted on meeting face to face. He was looking for some support, but one of his requirements was meeting face to face. He's based in North West London. That's basically how he found me. So yeah, I was pretty happy with that. We just met at a cafe at the end of the road. So yeah, it does go a long way for sure.
So it's all about trust, isn't it? I mean, even online. I mean, growing the hardware and what you're doing, and the amount of people that I say chatting to each other through LinkedIn, everything still wants to be face-to-face Teams meetings or say meeting up as well, and it's gaining that trust first, isn't it? Especially nowadays, obviously a lot of people ship stuff overseas as well. So for me, obviously, it's about keeping everything really here. So gaining that trust first, knowing that they're not just going to sub it out themselves. I've seen a lot of companies do that as well, where you're screwing in the UK, but actually no, they've shipped it off to their sister company elsewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That can be the very complicated thing about supply chains, right? Is you think you know where stuff's coming from, but you might not actually, especially if your suppliers are subbing and they're subbing, and now you don't actually know what material is actually coming out of and where it's getting made and what quality processes are in it or whatever. That can burn you so easily without you even knowing about it. Like you never know about it until it goes wrong. Trying to keep that kind of like tight trust is so valuable. Like that's normally when projects go really well, right? Is there's just like a lot of transparency. It's very like open and honest where it's all going and who's doing what, and that's normally when things work the best.
Yeah. So obviously, we said about you can do design work from like the detailing stage of the businesses as well. But do many businesses come to you right from the beginning, right from the idea?
It's a mixture. For example, the one I met this morning, it's an idea. The guy's made a the guy has managed to get something made as a sort of V1 prototype, if you like. But it's a mixture. Like sometimes again, it could be like an established product that's wanting like to be optimized or something. Because I have like a manufacturing background, I can normally help with optimizing a design for a process. Like maybe it's a molding process or a machining process or it's a plastic fabrication or something. Sometimes it's software companies, and they are doing maybe something but with like a physical product, like maybe in robotics. So it might be a software company with a bunch of software engineers, but suddenly they want to like put a robotic arm on something or in something or somewhere with some kind of, I don't know, structure or what have you. But they don't want to hire a mechanical engineer or certainly a team. They just want to get this job done. And that's it. So they might just need a bit of expertise around that. So, you know, they might have been developing that for ages and suddenly they want to kind of break out of a lab and into a, I don't know, a hospital or something or whatever. So yeah, it's a total mixture. It's probably half and half, like an early idea and half something that exists and it needs to be like productionized or something like that.
Yeah. So then do anyone also come to you and be like, right, I've got this project, I want to make this project, and then do you kind of sub anything out to like local manufacturers as well, or?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. So sometimes I will like recommend manufacturers to a company if they want to get something made. Maybe it's like a plastic fabrication or machining or sheet metal or something. Sometimes I will own that bit as well, so I'll do that and I sort of act as like a turnkey almost if it's something. I mean, I'm home based, right? I don't have a factory, so as long as it can fit through my door, and I can ship it or whatever. Sometimes I do that, but yeah, more often than not, I can recommend like suppliers depending what they want. Sometimes companies already have their suppliers. They've already got relationships. They've already got them onboarded and they're happy and so on. So sometimes I speak to their suppliers. I liaise with their suppliers about a drawing or a model or something like that. Yeah, that's normally what I see.
Because I think I sort of see on LinkedIn as well. You had some building sign as well as some building signs.
Yes.
Did you?
Yeah.
So they come to you for the design, or did you sub any for that out, or?
No, so that one was a concept had been done by the brand, and they essentially went to a manufacturer and said, "We want this on our building," but there's no engineering in between. It's a picture. So the manufacturer came to me and said, "This is a picture. This is how we're going to make it. We need the engineering done in between." But it was also like all the engineering, you know, the structure, the like the strength, the fact it doesn't, you know, fall down and it can survive like the wind and the rain and all of that kind of stuff. So there was some kind of like, I don't know, lightweight analysis to make sure it was a good balance of being strong enough, being sturdy enough, but not like a sort of overloaded kind of thing. So yes, that was actually the first time a manufacturer. Yeah, it all got done in like a different order, if you like. But you still typically need those three things, right? Some kind of like concept generation, some kind of engineering loop, and then a manufacturing loop.
It's not always. Can someone really kind of have this example? They can't really have this design and say, right, like go to a let's say sheet metal or a laser cutting company and say, make this. Obviously they need the step files or they need the design to go with it to be able to reduce it, don't they?
Yeah, but they wouldn't in China. You show them a picture, they'll try and make anything. This is what I see occasionally happening, right? I think it can work in theory, but it does happen where somebody will, I don't know, use like an AI tool or something to get an image together of what they want, throw it at a factory, and they get something back maybe a bit like it. And like, I guess it depends what it is and how critical it is and what have you, but maybe that's fine. Maybe that's a really bad idea. That engineering loop is where I try and add value for, you know, with manufacturing experience and design experience. And it's like, do it right, do it once kind of thing. So it might cost a bit of money. It might take a bit of time, but you can be like reassured it's going to be like really good. And it doesn't need to be like crazy, you know, like software tools are pretty fast now, pretty slick. Compute power is massive. You know, it doesn't take long to crunch through this kind of stuff. So yeah, that's where I sit.
Especially when you're saying about obviously upgrading your computer to take these software tools as well. I've been on quite a few computers as well when they're trying to run the software, and the amount of some of these 3D kind of CAD models are so big they just crash the computer straight away. And it's having that. Obviously, you've got that because you do your job. Sometimes it's taking little bits out you don't necessarily need at different points to collapse the or compress.
Yeah, it's very easy to get carried away in modeling and just create this massive thing that will just crash the computer. I think if you're doing like an aircraft or something, something with thousands and thousands of parts, or a rocket, then yeah, you need powerful software and a powerful machine. If you're doing something simpler and you're getting that, it's probably to do with more of a modeling strategy perhaps than how good the software is. But yeah, that's definitely something to be like experienced at. Like, there's several ways to skin a cat when you're modeling. Everyone has their own way of doing it. It's a bit like cooking almost, making a cake. Like you kind of know what the ingredients are, but you can kind of like put them in any order a bit to a point, and you eventually get something out. So you can. It's good to have a good process there that makes sure that it's like it stays lightweight. It doesn't get bloated. It doesn't start to sort of like hurt your computer and stuff. I think you get that just through years of practice.
I like you said a minute ago, where obviously previously before that question is about obviously the order of the work coming in. Obviously, where you said it went to the manufacturer first, then come back as well. So
Yeah.
this is kind of where I see the hub coming into it. Is you can be seen from all different directions of what you do, and as long as you're being seen and they're aware of what you can do, this work can come from anywhere. So it's nice to see that it's not only come down the normal route.
Yeah, it was interesting actually, because some manufacturers do have some in-house like capability with like CAD and like some stress analysis and stuff like that. But like probably more often than not they don't. Normally it's like kind of a CAM kind of process, and then some like material cutting or whatever. So yeah, it was good, that one, and it was quite nice to. I have worked in the past with like really close to manufacturers when I've been on the design side, but like, let's say you're designing, I don't know, a part for a machine or something, or maybe you're designing a bunch of parts for a machine, and you need a load of them. Maybe you need, I don't know, hundreds or thousands or so, perhaps. It's really important to have that dialect with your manufacturer or your manufacturers, so that they can capture like your design intent, like what it's for. They can help you as well. Like I always like to think that like they're the subject matter experts in making stuff, right? They're the ones that are programming, machining, checking, shipping, correcting as well. I know it happens a lot. So they're the experts, right? So it pays back loads to like chat to them and speak to them, and you can have a drawing or a model, but it can't tell them what you really want and what it's going to be doing. And they're the experts, and they can normally. I quite often find they're nearly always willing to help and say, "Great, by the way, we can also do this, or you can take some cost out if you drop that bit. Like, is that important?" And you're like, "Not really." So it's such a valuable thing to do. So I do find it is important to stick close to the actual manufacturer. When you're about to make something, or when you're getting stuff made and shipped, for sure.
I was going to say is kind of added on to that as well. Is there been many times where you've kind of completed the design or the concept and it's been perfect, and then suddenly they've made a prototype and they're like, actually, no, right, we better start again. We change it all.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen it over the years. I have seen it when like not enough information has maybe been like forwarded over to a manufacturer. Maybe it's a drawing, but it's not like that complete, or it's only got a few bits of information, and the rest of it's a bit open to interpretation, perhaps. So then, a good manufacturer will come back and say, like, what do you want us to do here exactly? In my opinion, some will just make it and say, here you go, and maybe you get lucky and it's fine. Maybe it's not. That's why that dialect piece is so important. Like I do see certainly like more like if you're new to this, it's very easy to make CAD. It's not that hard to make a CAD model. It's not that hard to make a drawing from it, and it's not that hard to just fire that out to anybody and ask them to make it for you. If you don't talk to them and let them know what it is your intent is and so on, it can be a bit of a lottery, especially if you're not super experienced here, and especially if you've released data that is like not super clear, or it can be like interpreted several ways. Perhaps I see that. Like that's so easy. It's so easy to do that, and it's very easy to sort of sit behind a screen, use web platforms for all this stuff. Suddenly a bunch of stuff comes through the post and or gets delivered or whatever, and you're like, oh, okay, rework, whereas like the sake of pick up the phone or even pop down and see them could probably, resolve it and save you that pain. This is where I'm trying to sort of support like customers or clients in this like experience with making parts and designing parts. And it's a lot of people seem to have like a tight deadline, they're in a rush, they haven't got time for this and that and whatever but there's always time for rework, right? There's always time to grind it down or get the drill out or maybe worst case start again. And the thing in hardware is it's not like software. Lead times are way high. What's a normal and fair lead time for a bunch of parts? Like 4, 5, 6 weeks. If people have got like a regular workload on in their production schedule, so if you suddenly did something that didn't work and now you're like, damn it, I need it like today, you're in a hole, right?
I know you pay the premium as well sometimes. Yeah, you can get it next week, but you pay a much higher rate for it as well. So it costs you a lot more money, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But you could spend that premium on because it's like once you've learned it, right? Now you've got it. Now you're good. Now you can, do these checks, or now I don't know, some rules or limitation to do with some features on a part or something. So that's the thing. It's like an investment. It's worth the investment. It's once you've got it, you got it all the time. So
the thing as well I find is obviously with a project as well. Obviously the step before is always the vital to get right, really, isn't it? So especially with like a project as well in say engineering, is that the design is the start. So if the design's right, everything from that is going to be correct. In the assembly process.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously if the design's wrong from the start, then everything along that is going to be made wrong in suit. So obviously that little bit more time or that bit more expertise from the design stage can certainly benefit down the line in the whole project.
And what can happen is if the design has got an issue in it at the start, right, and you go down the line and you get it made and you go to assembly and it doesn't work and you rework it and whatever. But if that loop doesn't get closed back, this will just carry on happening, and it's really important that this knows what's happening down here. That's like mission important, because again, if it doesn't, there's just nothing to stop it continuously.
I've seen that where I say if they're not revising the drawings and stuff as well. So if you're making repeat orders or repeat work, and then suddenly you're copying the same mistake over and over down the line in every single job. Once you've obviously found that kind of, just if there's a mistake or something, or you want to improve obviously what's happened, just say you found an issue and you want to improve it, you make sure you go back to the start and improve it again. Otherwise, you're constantly making mistakes down the line, aren't you?
Yeah, it's good to check. I'm on my own now, right? So it's harder, but I still use people in my network and stuff to check stuff. Like it's so healthy just to check stuff.
Just to provide, isn't it?
Yeah, because you just get so blindsided. You know what I mean? You just miss the simplest things. I don't think there's much of a replacement for that. I know there's some software automation to help you out with it, but it might help you out with like the more binary kind of stuff, like how a spell checker might work, but it doesn't necessarily tell you whether this is a good idea or not.
Well, it's that. I mean, you might find little things as well. There might be a little clash in your drawing, or you might find that actually, look, I've got a 12 mil threaded hole in that bit, but the hole I'm trying to bolt it to has only got a 10 mil hole, so I never be able to bolt through that hole into it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or like this fold is impossible. Like that's going to have to be fabricated, or there's just so many. And a lot of people have done, to be fair, like had a good crack at trying to like document and create like best practice guides and stuff. And some of them are good. I've even worked on some to try and like share and explain some like DFM rules and best practices in design intent and modeling and so on. And I think like the vast majority are quite easy to understand. And once you know, like, I don't know, like the top 10 rules, you're probably pretty good. But there's always something. There's always because in the 3D design space, you can design whatever you like, right? There's no restriction. You can make any kind of impossible shape in the world, like imaginable. The software will just let you do that. So you do always find these kind of edge cases at times, where I think the experience is probably how you would capture it. This can also like drive the cost of a part unnecessarily up. You might design a feature that's doable, so it passes that doable check, but it might be a pain to do and it might take ages, so you're going to pay for it. And like, do you need it? Maybe, but maybe not. So it's just that in design intent, you've always got to go back to that design intent to know whether this expensive feature is actually required or not. Maybe there's a more cost-effective way to achieve the same thing or something pretty close. Will that do? Maybe it will.
I find as well sometimes it's especially more recently really is there's so many kind of machined parts sometimes into these designs when actually that could have been laser cut, that could have been flame cut, that could have been so much cheaper getting those components in than sometimes the machine parts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very easy to, again, it's very easy to design a shape or some geometry and then just pick how you want it made. Doesn't necessarily mean it's the most cost-effective way. Maybe sometimes it's necessary, right? But quite often, not all the time. It's good to sort of look at it at system level as well. There's your part level and then there's your system level, and then there's like all the parts in the system, and then maybe that should be like less parts overall, or maybe there's a good reason to have like more parts overall. It just depends on what's happening, the design intent, but it's good to know the system level, I don't know, part or what product or whatever it might be.
Do you know we find that people kind of underestimate quite a lot before the design process?
Yeah, possibly. That's why you want to have that dialect, because it's very easy for a manufacturer, like their job is to take a drawing or a model or some kind of inquiry and say, yeah, I can make it this, they know the material, they know the tolerances, they know the quantity, they know the deadline and so on. And they say, yeah, we can make 10 of these in next month out of this material, deliver it, no problem, here's the price. But it's really worth some dialect in between to fully understand it, because they just won't know otherwise what's like really needed and necessary. And it could be like an expensive quote in the opinion of the person quoting it. So that person might go, actually, I'll just try another supplier then. But they haven't perhaps understood the reason for the cost, right? You just got to ask them, like, can you break down the cost a bit, or tell me where the cost is coming from? Maybe there's like 100 2mm holes in it or something. I don't know. Just use mesh or something. I don't know. Case by case. But there could be a great reason for that cost, and there could be a simple piece of communication that can make them understand the cost and say, yeah, if you want that feature, that's going to happen. But maybe there's a way around it, So yeah, I think to answer your question, I don't think manufacturers would perhaps know if any mistakes are being made, but they probably wouldn't know what the true design intent is unless they speak to the person. And if the person, agrees with the price, presses the button and they get it, great, But I think from sitting on the design side, it's very easy for designers to maybe not be happy with the quote. Maybe in their mind's eye, it's a different number, it's a lower number, or maybe they've been told by their directors or their managers or what have you, this is the budget for it. That's it. So then that might force them to go on a sort of merry-go-round of just firing out to all sorts of people, and it can be so unnecessary. It could just burn a lot of time for like absolutely no reason, and I can see why it's difficult for manufacturers quoting when they could just be quoting for the exercise of satisfying a manager who needed to see a certain number or so on, and that's not great.
Especially for you as well. I mean, that you're obviously got a competitive price, especially being you yourself as well on your own. Is that you only got to pay your bills. You've only got to pay for your kind of office at home as well. You've not got anything more overheads as well. So you're competitive. So knowing that when you're putting a quote into someone, that how are these other people getting anywhere near me on pricing, I don't know. But at least when you're putting that quote in, that you're going to be competitive.
Yeah. So I've had to learn this a bit. I think working for yourself, you've also got to believe in yourself, and you've got to like, you add value, right? You cost an amount of money, and you're, hopefully you're good at what you do, and you like doing it, and you can help customers, right? And there's a cost. There's a cost for that. It's very easy to think it's a race to the bottom. And when I started this early on, I actually listened to a podcast. It was really good. I can't remember what the series was, but it was about a sort of a freelance mechanical design engineer type of person based in the UK, and they had some success on one of these like freelance register type things, like I was explaining earlier. And I was a bit skeptical, but the podcast was quite compelling. So I tried it for a bit, not super seriously, but I did try it for a bit, and I did do answered a few inquiries for some projects, and I was being really competitive on price, and I was nowhere near. I was just absolutely miles away, and I was thinking, I think I was right. I think this is just a terrible idea. It's just a race to the bottom. So I then got some work like just through my existing network or through using LinkedIn a bit or what have you. Sort of stood by my rate. It's fine, did a good job. I always like to sort of maybe go a bit extra if possible. Like, I don't know, maybe as you're getting in the project, you realize something's missed. You just do it anyway, or point it out, or refer someone who can do this next bit or what have you, and so on. So yeah, I kind of feel that like I am a rate, but I'm comfortable with that, and I believe I add value, no problem, and I'm happy to be feel competitive at this rate kind of thing. So I definitely learned to stay away from at the moment anyway.
Because you're not just factoring just so your wages either, are you? I mean, you've got to factor in that obviously you've got this license, you've got this computer system, you've got your travel expenses and things as well, isn't it? So they're not just paying whatever. Oh, I only want to pay them £30 an hour, but they've
Yeah.
I mean, I listened to a podcast before, and they was talking about engineering, and when they was looking at pricing of the hourly rate or over a job, and then they also come back in the same kind of question was, you send your car into a garage and pay £70 an hour for your car to be fixed. Now,
All day
who,
long.
who
Yeah,
do you see is more
exactly.
worth the money? The people that obviously fixing your car, I mean, they're skilled as well, but or you're racing on the bottom line price on the engineering line, right?
That's right. It's a good analogy. Like plumbers in London are like £100 an hour now, or pretty much. They're quite expensive. But do you want? I mean, I'm not going to say, do you know what? I'm going to get some £20 an hour thing off the internet I've never heard of to fix my boiler instead, and just like not expect my house to blow up or something. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think you again, you do it right. You do it once.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, well, I've always kind of gone by the saying, it's all pay cheap, pay twice, isn't it? That's the
yeah,
one.
exactly. Yeah. That's the thing. Like that's the thing. It's very easy to get tangled up in that, but there's always time to make it right eventually, right? So everybody can find that time or that money to fix it down the line when it didn't work or it broke instantly. So there is that time, and there is that investment to make in the first place. It's just easy to be tempted, I think, and take a risk. Sometimes you get away with it, fine, but sometimes you definitely don't, and it goes badly wrong.
I've seen some, so I've spoken to companies as well, and they've had bits come in from overseas as well. They've used RFQ sites, got bits from overseas.
Yeah.
A lot cheaper, great. But then these parts have come in, they've been powder coated the wrong color.
Right.
They've not been deburred, or they've had to put extra processes in to the part when it's come back. And it's like, well, you're paying cheaper then, but then you've got to do this extra work when it's come there as well. So why don't you just keep it in the UK?
Yeah, it's a lesson. It's a hard learned lesson, that, and it's you only find out the hard way, right? I see it all the time, and you take a risk and you get the parts, and then it's like, damn it, who's now what do we do? And it can kill projects, it can kill companies, like especially if you've gone all out and spent all your money on loads of parts to build stuff, and it's all wrong. That could be the end. So yeah, it's easy to be tempted, but there's so many bad stories. It's tricky, that.
So if someone had a kind of an idea of say a product or a project or something, and they didn't really know about the design and manufacture stage, what would your kind of advice be to where should they start?
So they could get in touch. I'll always talk about a project. I'll always listen to an inquiry or what have you. I could probably help, but also I'm also not the best person for everything, right? And since I started this, I found a whole lot of people in this sphere as well, in also different domains, right? Like industrial design, electronics design, manufacturers, and so on. So quite often, if it's something that I can't do, I probably know someone who can, who may be a good fit for it, right? So so I would say if it's an idea about a product or a thing, or it's something to be optimized, or even if it's just something to just look over and sit and think and say, like, what do you think? Is it possible to change this, or to, I don't know, make it do something else, or what have you? Just get in touch and just have that initial chat. I think the more projects you do, the more experience you get, the more kind of likelihood it is you've either seen or done something similar. So you've got, some kind of relevant experience. That's what's really good about this, is the diversity is quite high. It's probably similar to if you're working in like a design or engineering consultancy, I suppose. So yeah, give us a shout.
Obviously, I see you online quite a bit. Obviously, on LinkedIn. Is there anywhere else people can find you? You've obviously got your own website, you've got LinkedIn, you're on the hub.
Yeah, that's my main things. LinkedIn is good. My website's got some like visuals showing like projects, and gives you an idea of what I can do. My contacts on there. I go to like the same sort of shows as you, like certainly in the UK, like Advanced Engineering and Engineering Design Show, and that kind of circuit throughout the year. So I'm normally at those for like meeting up, and I normally post if I'm going to go to one, and sometimes people get in touch and meet up and discuss projects. So yeah.
Well, one thing I was going to say actually is that this year we're also exhibiting at Smart Manufacturing Week as well. So if you're planning to go there, you're more than welcome to stop by and get anyone to visit us and visit yourself as well at the stands.
Are you having a stand at it?
We've got a stand at Smart Manufacturing Week, so
nice.
Our first stand as well. So we'll see
Yeah,
how it
that's
goes.
great.
Normally we attend, but this time we've actually got a stand.
Yeah. That's awesome. Is that's at NEC, isn't it?
That's NEC, yeah, June 3rd to the 4th.
Yeah, summer. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I'll certainly pop by.
Nice. Well, I think that's so the end of the questions really of what I've got on here. So that's great. I say it's great to have you on anyway.
Yeah.
I say I did want to ask actually is that obviously you recently got involved with the hub.
Yes.
And what about what we're building really? What did you like about what we're building, and why did you get involved?
Yes, that's good one. So I discovered it, I think, on LinkedIn ages ago. I think you maybe started it similar-ish to when I started up on my own. Maybe you started it a bit before I got going.
So you're saying 18 months, I think we started about 16, 17 months is when we launched on LinkedIn, I think.
Yeah, it's around about the same time, yeah. Because I'm just less than 18 months. I had seen it, and I think I had seen it getting traction, and then I joined, I think, the free version. And then I think I saw you guys posting about now maybe a trade show you were going to, or I can't remember, but I could just basically see it gaining traction. And then it's also so well priced. Like I can see you guys are doing a very cost effective way to get on it at the moment anyway, which is great. So I thought, I'll get myself on there. Because of what I do is different to kind of what your kind of core members do, I guess, as manufacturer. I'm not a manufacturer. I think you've got an area called design consultants.
Yeah. So obviously we've got the manufacturers, suppliers, service providers, but obviously bringing everyone together. So having all these manufacturers on there, I think people get confused sometimes and think it's just manufacturers, but we want suppliers, we want service providers, because where are these manufacturers going? They need
exactly. Yeah, and it's like we were saying earlier, sometimes it does go the other way, and sometimes manufacturers need like engineering support. So it is a good like turnkey kind of network. Anyway, so I saw there were a few of kind of people like me on there, and I thought, that's quite, it's a very reasonable price for sure. I'd got going and was like, I'll spend money on marketing, like no problem. It's the first thing in my accounts that's gone under like marketing. I was also like one of probably like less than half a dozen at the time of this kind of service provider. So that's quite a proportion of the register on there. So yeah, that's how I got into it, and I intend to stay on it.
Nice. No, thank you. It's just curious, really. I wanted to kind of see from members as well. Is that what do they see, and what can they see in us building, really, of made it valuable for them really to join.
I do like seeing it. I mean, I recognise a few of the companies on there. I think at least one of my ex-employers is on there. I'm pretty sure, and yeah, there's like something familiar about it, I suppose. And you know, we speak the same language. Yeah, it's probably. I think a good word is it brings a lot of familiarity, which makes it feel like really comfortable.
No, that's what it's all about, really. Just kind of this community, really. So it's yeah, finding each other as easy as possible, and we all speak the same language. So great, Jamie. It's great to have you on anyway. So we'll have this hopefully edited soon and be back out. But yeah, great to finally actually listen and hear more of what you're about. First time talking to you in person as well, I think.
It is. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, for sure.
No, perfect. Well, thanks for being on anyway, and yeah, I'll catch you soon.
That's in. Cheers.
If you want more customers, you've got two choices. You either pay for Google Ads or you hope that you're within the top 10 on Google search.
There's over 100,000 manufacturing businesses in the UK, but how do they get found? I had that problem working for an engineering company in Essex with no marketing budget. How could new customers find us?
My name's Kevin and I'm the co-owner of Manufacturers Hub, and we've come up with a solution to get your business found online. Join us today to boost your online presence. Click the sign up link.